So here we go. And I think I'll be generous. I changed the wording a little bit on this for next time around. We'll get there. We'll get there. I won't take marks off this time because I can see that I didn't specifically say that, but we'll see how it went. So we are a furniture company, and we know that this hemisphere here, right, has a volume of that. That's very important. So Gabriel would like to cover the cushion with fabric to make it feel more comfortable. And by that I meant including the base. I don't know if you caught that, including base. And I meant the circle that would normally be at the bottom of that hemisphere. If you missed that, that's fine. I feel like I should have been more upfront with you on that. So we won't take marks off today, but we'll make a note of that. Fabric costs $7.99 per square foot. So the idea is here, implied is that you can only buy a square foot at a time, unless stated differently. Fabric can be purchased in any length though, but it has to be to the nearest foot. By that I mean, I don't know if you ever buy stuff. I buy stuff online sometimes for projects, and like for example, if you have a sheet of fabric, it comes in like a 6x8 or a 10x4. You know what I mean? Like it's limited. Here we're assuming you just have this endless supply, whatever dimension you need. That's what I mean with that. And we want to make enough for 20 seats. So let's go. A, how much fabric is required to cover one seat? We're going to add 10% discount for waste. This is something that has shown up from time to time. When you buy, you probably want to buy a little bit more just in case you either make a mistake or you need a little extra to like go over the edges. So that's what this is accounting for. For fabric, I need surface area, correct? And the only way to figure out the surface area is to know the radius. And we're going to go with the volume. So I morphed in some backwards here, some backwards operations. So we're going to say that many cubic inches is 2 pi r cubed divided by 3, right? The volume of this, right, is denoted by this formula, and I do know the volume here. So then you just go backwards. We go times 3, that cancels that, leaves you with 2 pi r cubed, and this gives you 6195.72. Okay, then we divide both sides by 2 pi. Cancel, cancel. You're left with r cubed, and then this gives you, if some of you probably crunch the numbers, so it's 986.07, and then it just keeps going. Don't round just yet. And then cube root, sorry. And that would be 9.953 and something. Okay, and we make a note that this is in inches, yes. I shouldn't be circling, but hey, it's okay because we're gonna clearly label at the end which one is. But that one is definitely an important step. So I would say this: there are 2 marks hidden in here in my books today, because there's quite a bit of an operation here, quite a bit of work that needs to that you need to do to get to that radius. So if you get this radius, you get 2 marks. 2 marks for that. Now we're going to figure out the surface area of the hemisphere, and that's 2 pi r squared, because it's 4 pi r squared for a sphere. And then, but I'm going to add, this is the base. So some of you probably have that formula on your, so if you went with 2 pi r squared, it's okay today, because I feel like I wasn't specific enough. So, and some of you have the formula on your study sheet that if the base, right, if you're trying to include this circle down here, then it's 3 pi r squared. If you don't care about the bottom part, if it's just a hemisphere, half of a sphere, then it's 2 pi r squared. Okay. So this is what I'm going to use. So surface area would be 3 pi and then this radius. So I wouldn't take marks off again. for this part. So whatever you got here, if I see you using it here, you get the marks, okay? And that gives you 933.710 something squared inches. I would give you a mark if you get to this point. And we need to add 10%. So that's what I call total surface area. I just multiply this by 1.10. It's like adding 12% tax. Here we add 10%. It's not money. We're adding 10% of the area, but you do it the same way. So that'd be 1,027.08. Here you can round. Here you can round. So this, adding the 10% would give you another mark. So that's going to change our total. So 2, right? 2 for the radius. 1 for figuring out the surface area. And today if you went 2 pi r squared, then it's fine. And another mark for adding 10%. So that makes this question out of 4. Okay. If you did all of this, way to go. Yeah. You answered in feet. I was gonna, when you do the cost here, that's when I was gonna, but it doesn't matter. Either one is fine. If you did you convert this to feet by dividing it? If you divide it by 144, you get this in square feet. Fine, because it doesn't specify. Either way, you're fine. So what would that be? 1027.08 divided by 144. It's about that. Because this one here, this one, 2 cubic feet. So you divided this by, then it's 1,728, because 1 cubic foot has 12 to the power of 3. It should have been divided by 1,728. Yeah. And then you did everything else. And you didn't get what I just showed you here? You didn't get... Oh, okay, because you didn't. So fine then. Then it's fine. If the base... So what would it be without the base? Let's do that real quick here. 2 times pi, now to 9.953 something squared. This is probably what a lot of you got, right? Something in that neighborhood. So if you divide that by 144, then your square feet would be about that. Yeah, that's fine. So no marked deductions for that. If you did this in square feet or square inches, as long as it's correct, you're fine. And obviously we don't care about you missing this today, just today. So you got to really carefully think about it. Calculate how much it would cost to make enough covers for 20 seats. So I will just make it easy today. 20 seats times whatever you got here, whatever this is. For me, that's this. Squared inches. That would give you a mark. So that gives me 20,541.6 squared inches. And obviously, if you have 600 and something, then you go 20 times 600. That's fine. Okay, for that step, you get a mark for this step multiplying by 20. And then I convert this. I convert it here because I'm about to calculate the cost. I see that it's sold in square footage by square feet. So I'm going to convert this. I know that 1 square foot has 144 squared inches, right? That gets canceled, so it's essentially dividing by 144. You get 142.65 square feet. That actually rounds to that. And now I'm about to calculate the cost, so I'm going to now round to 143 square feet that I need to buy. Okay. So cost, oh, I should give you the marks for that. 1 for multiplying by 20, 1 for converting. And so that would obviously make it complicated if you already converted. Just give yourselves a mark there. That's fine. 1 for times 20. 1's for converting. Half a mark for rounding to a whole mark, to a whole square foot. Yeah.
Did you already include taxes somewhere else? Is this plus tax at the end?
Yeah, so I'm not done yet because this is just the amount that I need to buy. Now I'm ready to do my final tax and all that. So I'm going to take this by 143, right? 143 square feet times 799 per square foot. And I'm going to right away multiply by 1.12 because that's adding taxes. Okay. So if you do that in one shot, you get 1279.68. What's that? So you did 217? Because this is doing both. Because this is 7% PST plus 5% GST, that is 12%. So 1.12 adds both taxes. If you just want GST, then it's 1.05. If it's just PST, it's 1.07. Oh, so that's a good point. When you want to add 12% tax, add the percentages, and then we're going to add that to 100%. So, right, 100 plus 12 is 112%, which is 1.12. So just do this part. Because if you add the 100 twice, then it's like you're paying for this twice and then adding taxes, you know what I mean? So I'll do this. For this part right here, I give you half, even if it just shows up. For the tax itself, I'll give you a whole mark, because that is a whole mark for us. So if you have the times 1.12 at some point, you at least get 1 mark, guys. So that's the nice thing about the taxing. So let's review this. 1 for the 20, 1 for the conversion. So that's 2. 3 for the taxes, and then half for this part, half for rounding to a whole number. So there are 4 marks hidden in here. And I would say if you did these steps, right, and you're fairly confident you got everything right in between, just give yourselves 4 out of 4. Even if this top number is wrong, if you're somewhat following this timeline here, then you're fine. Okay. So 4 and 4, that's 8 for question 1. I just changed it because if I just give half for everything, like usually the province gives 1 for concepts. Okay? It is what it is today. Learn from it. You're going to get this back. If you want to redo it, do it, right? Grab loose leaf or do it on the back side, whatever. Now, the cistern or well is to be built of cement. The walls on the bottom will be 1 foot in thickness and painted with purple paint. The outer height is 20 feet. The inner diameter is 10 feet. How much cement is needed to create the well? State your answer in cubic yards. Cement, I hope you understand that that's volume. Okay. The painted part, I didn't make anything of it. I could have asked you for this surface area, but I felt like enough is enough, right? And maybe you remember this from the homework. I don't know if anybody remembers this. But we know that the thickness of the walls here of this well are 1 feet, right? And that the center, right, the diameter of the small part is 10 feet. Okay? So that means that from end to end it's 12 feet, which means that the large radius of the large cylinder is 6. And the lowercase radius of the inside cylinder is 5. Okay, so that's something to very important to note. It's 20 feet in height. So this is 20, that'd be capital H. What about the inside here? How tall is that? 19. Did you catch that? Because this is a little deceiving. Technically, there's a bit of a, at the bottom, there's a 1 foot gap here. So if we just go from the top, right, the hole down the well, it just goes 19 feet this way. Okay, the volume. So here we're going to go total volume is the volume of large cylinder minus volume of small cylinder. That's all there's to this one. So we're going to go pi r squared h minus pi lowercase r squared h. I would say if I see this, if I see some indication that you're subtracting volumes of cylinders, I would give you a mark already. Now we plug in pi 20, no, sorry, 6 times 20 minus pi 5 squared times 19. So here's where I'm going to make a distinction. This first chunk here, I'll give you 1 mark if everything is entered correctly. And you get another mark if all of this is entered correctly. Like if every single dimension is correct for that second part. So if you only have everything correct for one of them, you get 1 out of 2. Right? So even if you get the 19 wrong, you have the 5 correct, but this is 20 in yours, you lose the mark here, okay, today. Total volume, I crunch this, I get 2261946 and something minus, you do this part, it's 1492.25 and then something, and at the very end, you get 769.6902 something. And what is this in right now? It's in cubic feet. So I would say if you're able to do this, like actually compute this, enter it, subtract, I give you a mark for that. Got it? And then we're going to convert. And we want a cubic yard. So 1 cubic yard, I hope you have this on your study sheet, has 27 cubic feet. Have this one on your study sheet, okay? It matters where you put the numbers, by the way. I don't know if you remember from grade 11. If you want to cancel cubic feet, then cubic feet here need to be at the bottom. So you may have to flip-flop this depending on the situation. Most of the time we do it this way. Okay? So for this step, you're going to get a mark as well. It's 28.51 cubic yards if you round it to 2 decimals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks for this one. Yeah. 19 here? Because we're told that the walls and the bottom is 1 foot. Yeah. Good question. I appreciate you asking. I'll try to answer it when I can. So 1 mark for you showing me that you're subtracting, and then this part here where you're actually entering everything correctly. And then obviously you crunch everything. So the crunching, you could still get a mark there, even if everything else is wrong. If I see that you're doing the math right that follows your logic, you get a mark. If you convert, you get a mark. So you can still get 2 out of 5 or maybe 3 out of 5, right? So it's, we're not going to sweat it today, okay? So what are we at total? 13? 5, 4, and 4, that's 13. 13 for the whole thing. And I want to make sure you get this back either today or tomorrow so you have something to go off of. I'm going to say that my questions are going to be like drawn from my booklet /AC's and so forth. So make sure your name and last name is on there and make it out of 13, and I'll collect it once so I can have all of these ones separate.